first of all, we obviously have heightened geopolitical risks. We have a war in the Middle East, in Ukraine. We've got increasing trade tensions with China. And frankly, I would consider rising populism around the world to be a significant risk to markets. So, for example, in this country, unlike in 2016 when the market viewed a Trump election as positive for markets, I don't expect that to be the reaction if Trump is elected this time around. And the reason for that is that he's threatening to deport millions of immigrants, 80 million immigrants, and he's saying that he would put 60% tariffs on goods coming into China from China and 10% on other goods. And I probably don't need to tell the audience here that tariffs and deporting immigrants are both highly inflationary. I think if we hadn't had the number of immigrants coming into this economy that we've had in the last year or two, we would have an even tighter labor market, and we would likely have wages that were continuing to rise. So, we'll see, but I do think that's a risk to my thesis. As long as we don't have one of those geopolitical risks come into play, I would expect this upward momentum to continue.
Of course, there is the fact that he doesn't always deliver on these campaign promises, right? In 2016, he said he was going to build a wall and have Mexico pay for it. Those things didn't happen. So maybe it's just, talk in terms of the deportations and the big tariffs.
I would suggest that people listen to what he's saying this time around, because the kind of people that are going to go to Washington with him if he becomes president are very different than the team that he took with him in 2016. I think you're absolutely right that the primary reason that the market reacted positively in 2016 was deregulation and the promise of lower taxes. So I think at this point, the market doesn't really, as we all know, like uncertainty. And his rhetoric has become increasingly unhinged over the last few years. So I don't expect that kind of excitement over deregulation. Do I expect the market to crash, if Trump is elected? Certainly not. I think we will just see more volatility because his rhetoric, if he even attempts to put some of these policies in place, would be enough to cause significant disruption.